I agree with really everything you said. When they brought Dennis Wagner into Cullowhee, there was they had high hopes he was going to be able to turn that program around. And while he was definitely a high character guy, he ran a clean program. He just was not able to get the talent in there to really leave Coach Spear with a chance to make a huge impact in year one. As we talked about earlier, I do think that Mark Spear was the right man for the job. I'm very happy for him that he got a chance to be a head coach. He did some great things at Appalachian. Obviously, he was a part of all three of those national championship teams. He recruited some of the best players we've ever had up here, and he did a lot off the field as well. And he was just a great guy, someone that was, did a lot for the community, and was just a great ambassador for Appalachian. So I'm thrilled for him, and I'm so happy that he got this opportunity. And when they're not playing us, I certainly wish him the best. But as we mentioned, he's almost starting from scratch down there, and obviously they've got some good young talent there. It really says a lot when a kid like Darius Ramsey as a freshman can leapfrog Michael Johnson, the senior, on the depth chart. That he's a talented guy. He's got some. Michael Johnson has some history of success in this conference, and it says a lot. I mean, I'll trust Coach Spear and that staff to recognize a good one when they see it. So he's a guy that could seriously present some matchup problems for us. We don't want to let him get in the open field, but as you mentioned, and looking at the overall roster, they just they don't quite have. They don't quite have the horses in the stable to run with us just yet. At this point in the season, they're still without a Division I win. Appalachian has not lost to an FCS opponent that doesn't run some variation of the triple option, and I really just don't see either one of those happening for the first time this year. And I do expect Western Carolina to put some points up on us. I'm not sure that obviously I would be thrilled if we held them to 14 points. As your prediction said, that would be excellent. I do think that they'll probably put some more points than that up on the board with us, but I really would be surprised if they were able to slow us down offensively, and coming off of a tough loss, that our guys want to get that taste out of their mouth, and I think that the Catamounts might kind of get some frustration taken out on them and feel the brunt of what happened in Boone last weekend. And when it's all said and done, I would not be surprised for Western Carolina to keep this game close for the first quarter, maybe through the first half. But as our offense continues to wear them down defensively, I think that we'll probably come out of this game with a pretty sizable advantage in terms of time of possession. I think we'll wear them down. We'll get some big plays. I really don't think they have anyone on that team that's going to be able to slow down Sean Price or Stephen Miller out there. And if our offensive line is able to do a good job, then if they're able to get pressure on Jamal, that obviously would be kind of the great equalizer. Based on what's happened thus far this year, I don't think that's going to happen. And on the other side of the ball, I think that Ronald Blair and Deuce Robinson and Jeremy Kimbrough and Brandon Greer are going to have big games. And I think that Demetrius McCray is going to have his hands full with Spearman Robinson. But I really think that from top to bottom, their roster at this point just does not quite stack up with ours. And I think we've got too much firepower for them offensively, and I'm going to go with Appalachian 49, Western Carolina 28. So I think it's going to be a little more of a high-scoring game, but I just don't think they're quite there yet. If we're having this conversation 2 years from now, it might be a little bit different once Coach Spear gets a couple of his classes in there to buy into the system and really be for him and Coach Glenn and Coach Elder and all those guys have their recruits in there and running things the way they want to do it. I think they will eventually close that gap, but for now I just don't think they're quite there yet. And I know we always kind of want to throw the records out altogether when you're talking about rivalry games, but when you're looking at a team that's yet to beat a Division I opponent, and it's going to be really tough for their first D1 win to come against a top 20 team that's angry and coming off a loss at home and wants to beat them just as bad as they want to beat us. So I think App ends up winning this one by about 3 touchdowns, and it will be interesting. I'm very curious to see how our guys bounce back, how they play with their backs against the wall. That says a lot about the character of the team, but I'm hoping for a pretty convincing win. So that's what I'm going with, 49-28 Appalachian. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We hope to have all you guys back next week. And for anyone that is going to be heading up to Cullowhee for the game this weekend, drive safely, and we'll see you back next Tuesday.
All right. Well, thank you for that prediction, Mike. And that's all for us tonight. That's going to wrap it up. So thanks again for tuning in, and we hope you come back next week, Tuesday, October 30th at 7:30, where we'll discuss the Battle of the Old Mountain Jug and hopefully just be discussing a win. And then also be previewing a very, very crucial road trip to Statesboro, as we will be heading down there to face the Georgia Southern Eagles. So as always, you can find us online at appstatecentral.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/appstatecentral, or on Twitter with the handle @appstatecentral. For my co-host Mike, I am Bryden, and thank you for tuning in to the appstatecentral.com weekly podcast. Let's beat the Catamounts.